Good evening. I want to thank all of our allies on the school board for your continued support of people like myself in LCPS. I am so sorry for all of the hate messages you must be receiving at this time, and I applaud you all for remaining firm throughout all of this vitriol. You see us, you accept us, you support us, you fight for us. Although I'm not a resident of Loudoun County, I was one for 19 years. I'm especially close to LCPS, not only because of my work as a substitute teacher, but because I have many friends and family that still work in Loudoun County. It helped make me the person that I am today. However, I was dissuaded from pursuing a career at LCPS because it would not be safe for me to transition without a policy. I ended up accepting a job elsewhere and am much happier being able to live my life the way I want to and to live my truth. Even still, I love Loudoun County, and I still want it to be the best that it can be. Your stance on this policy helps to make that a reality.
Thank you.
Good evening, school board members. Here's a statement by the American Academy of Pediatrics and the American Psychiatric Association. I quote, "Evidence confirms that policies excluding transgender individuals have detrimental effects on the physical and mental health, safety, and well-being of transgender individuals. Such exclusionary policies undermine well-established treatment protocols and expose these individuals to stigma and discrimination, as well as potential harassment and abuse by singling them out from their peers. In contrast, there is no evidence of harm to the physical or mental health of other children and adolescents. Our organizations are not hearing from their physician and therapist members about students experiencing any such harm, even though numerous states and school districts covering hundreds of thousands of individuals have such policies." Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
As a resident of the Blue Ridge District, I'm here to encourage you to include sexual orientation and gender identity in the non-discrimination policy for the school system. LA and San Francisco have over 700,000 students in their school systems. They haven't had a single incident reported, and they have transgender protections. NYC, Albuquerque, New Mexico, Baltimore, Maryland, Richmond, dozens of other cities have protections for transgender community. No incidents are reported. So why are we here? We have studies from the Williams Institute that show no crime increase when there's protections for the transgender community. The National Alliance to End Sexual Violence has shown that it's either ignorance or a willful misrepresentation of the law to claim that it is harmful to women to have transgender protections.
Thank you. Natasha.
My name is Willow Walkie. She, her, hers. I am a transgender woman. I'm on the board of the Transgender Education Association. I live just across the border in Herndon with my family. More importantly, I facilitate a group of parents of transgender teens and tweens here in Loudoun County. The parents come to this meeting seeking guidance to help their trans children. They discuss how to support their kids, how to protect them, dealing with the medical community, unsupportive relatives, name changes, and how to navigate the school system. These parents fear for their kids when they are at school, fear of bullying, of not drinking enough so they don't have to use the restroom, not wanting to go to school, and the fear their kids may not want to live anymore. Being transgender is difficult, but we are sure of our gender. I knew it by 6, and it took me 47 years of fear and pain to find my way. Transgender kids today have the opportunity to live without those decades of fear and pain. You know the statistics of supporting LGBT kids in school. You have the power to help LGBTQ staff and students live their lives.
Thank you.
I would like to welcome the several SPLC-identified hate groups likely in attendance this evening. A central theme of anti-LGBT organizing and ideology is the opposition to LGBT rights, often couched in rhetoric and harmful pseudoscience that demonizes LGBT people as threats to children, society, and public health. Anti-LGBT groups on the SPLC hate list often link homosexuality to pedophilia, claim that same-sex marriage and LGBT people in general are dangerous to children, and support the criminalization of homosexuality and transgender identity. and that there is a conspiracy called the homosexual agenda at work that seeks to destroy Christianity and the whole of society. To be on the list, a group must have a propensity to, well, lie. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, I propose that these people are the real threat to Loudoun County's children. Thank you.
Thank you.
Be patient is the catchphrase. They'll come around eventually. Meanwhile, the harm caused by attitudes that view entire people as less than others is perpetuated. LGBTQ people are being hurt. This is not just another point of order to debate whether you're for or against trans or gay or lesbian people. We all are playing collectively with their lives. Red herring, something that's intended to be distracting. Call it out when they call trans women men or trans men women. By the way, the XY chromosome argument, think about epigenetics and you know better, intersex. At any rate, please vote to protect LGBTQ students and staff. Do the right thing. We are real, everyday people worthy of respect. Thank you.
Good evening. I am the assistant priest at St. Matthew's Episcopal Church, and I'm here tonight to support the proposed policy change for the non-discrimination policy to include protections for our LGBTQ siblings, and implore you all to do the same. Many people like to use the name of Jesus to discriminate against, harass, bully, and attack the LGBTQ community. As a priest in the Episcopal Church, I wholeheartedly disagree with this and find this teaching untrue to the true gospel of Jesus. Not once does Jesus talk about homosexuality, but he talks a lot about love. Love is mentioned 75 times in the Gospels. So whether you are a Christian or a member of another faith community, the message lives there: to love others, to do to others as you would have them do to you. I ask you, how might we show love to our LGBTQ students, faculty, and staff tonight? Please vote in favor of these protections because we are all made in God's image, and LGBTQ individuals deserve the same respect and dignity as every human being.
Good evening. First, let me say I support students like Scott in Loudoun County and all of their other friends. My name is James Parrish, and I'm the Executive Director of Equality Virginia. We support this policy, which would foster an inclusive environment that is safe and free from discrimination for all students and staff, regardless of sex orientation or gender identity. Non-discrimination policies like this one don't require parents, students, or anyone else to change their personal beliefs or values about LGBT people. They simply require everyone to be treated with fairness, dignity, and respect. Parents are responsible for teaching their kids core values. No policy is going to change that. Given the high percentage of LGBTQ students who experience harassment at school and the fact that teachers are at risk of being fired for just of who they are, fully enumerated non-discrimination policies like this one are necessary. Already your neighbors in Arlington, Alexandria, Fairfax County, Falls Church, Prince William County, Manassas Park have all updated their non-discrimination policies to protect students and employees on the basis of sexual orientation and gender identity. Thank you.
I'm a transgender woman who attends Woodgrove High School here in Loudoun County Public Schools, and I've come to say that you should definitely adopt this legislation. And being in Loudoun County Public Schools for the entirety of my life, I have firsthand experience with the policies and how they're enacted. And while everyone will say that there are no formal complaints, and I personally have not had any issues with the staff being overtly hateful, there needs to be a system in place here to protect transgender children, because just because there isn't reported issues and problems does not mean that there is a framework to protect that from ever happening again. If you let this be an open policy that's up to interpretation by any principal, some new principal that comes in can easily do away with all those, with all that equality and change. This formalization of the language in and Loudoun County's policy is needed, and I advocate for it fully.
Thank you.
Good evening. Although I'm supposed to be speaking to you, I want to turn around and tell the LGBTQ community that this is the same crap that you heard when it came to African Americans. So just keep fighting. Keep fighting.
Good evening. I'm Dan Johnson from Leesburg, here in support of Chris Kroll's proposed amendments to Policy 1040. The purpose of these additions is not to grant anyone special privileges over anyone else, nor is it to elevate anyone's distinctive characteristics over anyone else's. What they do is offer gay, lesbian, and transgender people the opportunity to lead their lives authentically when they have not been able to and cannot. This is policy, not law, not legislation. It is a statement of a principle to be used as guidance so that regardless of the misunderstandings or prejudgments of others, both inside and outside, the school system does value and will protect their diverse teachers, staff, and students against unfair, discriminatory, and destructive acts. You've heard tonight much of this misunderstanding. Please include this wording that all other neighboring area schools and 42 of the largest school systems across the country have adopted without the incidents many tonight have speculated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Patrick Veltri. I support the measure to add equal opportunity language and urge the board to do the same. I'm a native of Northern Virginia, and I've now spent more than half my life here in Loudoun County. I love it here and happen to think this is truly the best place to live. Part of what makes it so great is the inclusiveness, safety, diversity, and equal opportunity. I'm the proud father of a transgender son, and I simply want the best for him here in Loudoun County. Please vote in favor of the policy. It's the right thing to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, folks. So I'm a bit confused. With all the talk about locker room safety, and if it's such a big priority, why has there not been a push these last few years to actually make sure our students are safe in locker rooms? When I was in 9th grade at Briarwoods, there was hazing, groping, harassment, assault that went on in our locker rooms during PE. And when a student built up the courage to tell a PE teacher, he told us word for word, stop jerking off in the locker room. That was it. End of story. Now, I'm just confused, I'm sorry. Transgender students are not going to make our locker rooms unsafe. Our locker rooms are already unsafe. Look at Tuscarora. How many students who got arrested for assault were transgender? Zero. Now, your concerns should not be pigeonholed around transgender students. Your concerns should be the fact that we have feckless adults who stand by idly in our schools when students report to them felonies that are going on in our locker rooms. That should be your concern. Thank you.
Thank you.